Welcome! Welcome to Wins News. I'm your friend, Amit Roy. Today I want to tell you about 1962 because the 60 years of Indo-China War. We have read so many things for last 60 years about Indo-China War. But I want to tell you the planning and intrigues and infiltrations, what China did before the war and during the war. Please subscribe me and subscribe my channel and like me. In 62, before 62, there are many things happening. I'll not go into that in details. I'll go tell you operational things. And India, how it was trapped by communists inside, also before prior to attack. Now we all know how India-China border tension were simmering at that time. And Chou Enlai was visiting again and again to India. And China was making strange claims. This part is our, that part is our. They like, even today they are doing it. Now look, also we have to understand why China attacked. There are 2-3 external cases. That time you have to understand Cuban crisis was happening and Americans were not in a position to help India. Besides, Americans and West were a little upset with India and Nehru. Foreign policy. Nehru's foreign policy is very interesting. And the man who was hatching the foreign policy is no one but Krishna Menon. Looks, here the intrigue start. People do not understand. I get so surprised. Even today they don't know how they did that thing. So when I discovered that, it was total shock for me. It was a classic KGB operation inside India. Or Comintern operation, and you may say, on behalf of KGB. Because Russians and Chinese were coordinating from the day one. Because Stalin told Mao to attack and capture Tibet. And after that, Chinese, though it is overtly fighting with Khrushchev's some policies, but their military things totally intact. And Chou Enlai was a double agent for Russia also. Nobody knows that. And he was a spy chief in China. Indians do not know about it. I don't blame that they are not. I am not going to talk that at this moment. Why they don't know, that's another story. Anyway, the agent provocator, the important mole was Krishna Menon. Now look, he was fighting with General Thimaya. And Thimaya was a good man. And so was his deputy, General Thorat. And very carefully listen, Krishna Menon was fighting with them, making a rift within the military establishment. Slowly demoralizing them, confusing them. And fighting, this is the communist tactics. Fighting one against another. And I don't know why Americans kept quiet. Though CIA has cautioned Nehruji through Burmese Prime Minister, beware of Chou Enlai. Nehruji was a different kind of person. He used to trust others, gentlemanly. He didn't understand communist tricks. And then, this man, Menon, was confusing Nehru every day. Nehru was totally dependent on Menon. And he was doing some sort of advocacy to prick China. Making a China forward policy, making a forward policy on China. China, on the other hand, was seeing India's importance. And China needed to stop Nehru's international fame, which he acquired in Bandung and others non-alignment movement. And that is not good or bad. I'm not going to say that non-alignment movement was good or bad. Rubbing shoulder with the Russians is good or Soviet, so it's good or bad. I don't want to mention right now. But look, China wanted one more thing. And Russians were fearing that time. Why China attacked? People do not understand today. Russians were fearing communism will not be expanded in India without Nehru. And there could be a military coup. And they wanted to, via China, they wanted to humiliate Indian army. A lot of people don't understand that. To humiliate India, to promote communists, you need to attack Indian army and make it look like some sort of defunct kind of thing, and exactly that was made. Now, a lot of people say China suddenly attacked. China didn't attack suddenly. China was amassing troops, and China didn't look. China made attack in 3 or 4 places. One is Ladakh area, another is in Arunachal Pradesh. That time it used to call Nefa. And before that, China also making infiltrations, a lot of infiltrations within India and making friends in Mishmi tribes and around Tawan people. Because many of the Chinese voters are Mishmis. And China has also field intelligence. Plus communists were supplying information to them. And there was a top man here as Menon, Krishna Menon. Now there are when you attack somebody, you have to give you some classic example how it is done. First, you have to demoralize the army or everybody, the nation. For that, you will need disinformation. And Nehru was being fed disinformation, wrong tactics. Wrong type of things was being fed to him so that he gets more confused. Our army gets more confused. And he was bringing, they're making fight between generals. And General Kaul was brought, Thapar was brought, and Thimaya was pushed out, telling that he could make a coup. I don't know if they're right or wrong. And then, excuse me please. Then disorganization. This is the disorganization this Chinese started when they planned to attack India. Look how they are doing that on top of the army hierarchy. How they are dysfunctioning them with Russian help. Russians are clearly involved. People do not understand that. And disorganization started, disinformation started, and demoralization in the end. You have seen what kind of demoralization it has. And these are the things, in the beginning it was done by Krishna Menon. And plus, Krishna Menon used to go to China many times, and while going to China, he used to meet Zhou Enlai, and used to possibly, in the name of discussion, 8-9 days used to stay there, and he used to supply a lot of information possibly to Zhou Enlai and a communist army. And that's how a plan worked. Why I am telling Krishna Menon? Because his communist connection was busted. When he was in the end, he was kicked out of the Congress party. He was caught and possibly caught. I don't know if he was caught or not, but he was, after 62 war, he was kicked out, and he fought election from West Bengal with communist cell. That shows his close link with communist, even in the last days, before he was a British communist. Anyway, I'm coming to the tactical, operational part. Now look, here are some Indian generals, Palit, Kaul. They didn't understand at all. Because, China was already, there was no field intelligence. And in Namkachu area, the Chinese already capturing the height. General Thimaya didn't want to fight that time. But the way they were pushed in Namkachu area is a blunder, total blunder. And China had a plan that said tin head and tin tail of India, that is around Darang and Tawang. They achieved that objective because it started demoralization and chaos. Because China was feeding wrong information and there was no supply. There were tactical mistakes. Krishna Menon and his military commanders did that. Bogi Sen, Palit, Kaul, they're doing all stupid things. But look, in Ladakh, China also attacked on 20th, I guess, October. Before that, there were skirmishes. And somehow Ladakh, despite of, disinformation, wrong tactics, India held its ground. Rajangla, they fought well. I consider that it's a lesson for many people. But they could have won. I mean, they shouldn't have died like that. Anyway, I'm not going to say right now talking about that. In Eastern sector, Joginder Singh showed what fight is. Alone he fought Chinese. But he shows, in the beginning it was seen, if you shoot at Chinese, they'll run away. But they had brought their Korean returned forces. Possibly there were some Koreans. I'm also telling you, possibly there were some Koreans with them. And there were battle-hardened gangs they brought from Korea, the Chinese army. And they were storing food and ammunition for a long time. Always, they didn't attack everywhere. They attacked 3 or 4 places. Look, Indians fought well in Walong. In the initial 2-3 hours, they hit back Chinese. And it's the western sector, Indians fought very well. Somehow in eastern sector, in the Tri-Junction area, something happened. I don't know, definitely intelligence failure. Chinese has already infiltrated within Indian army ranks. I am talking this with responsibility. Many porters were sabotaging Indian advance. Anyway, it is no match because India has no supply line and it was a disaster. But Thapar said, no. Thimaya said that we could stop them near in the plains. And Chinese suddenly went back. And Indians strangely didn't use the air power. India was stronger air power. China had no air power that time. I don't know why. Even I guess this is Krishna Menon's plans. And it was a sad end. But question is, have Indians understood this magnanimity of the incident? How infiltrators can totally botch up plans? Even I said this kind of communist infiltration kept running for a very long time. I'm not going to talk about that. It doesn't look so clean even today. Anyway, this is my submission for me. We must avenge. Look, I want to tell you, I want to dedicate this video piece for my favorite hero, Jaswant Singh Rathore, who alone fought China, alone, killed more than 300 Chinese. What a valor. Look, it shows Chinese army, even that time, was not invincible. If India fought back that time, what Jaswant Singh has said, look, I have one more thing in public platform. I said, Indians are sending stupid people, those who have no caliber, to those kind of places to visit at their cost. Indian armies, they will not invite me. They should invite me. They should invite me to see how my hero, Jaswant Singh Rathore, fought. So that I can help them. I can save them from many attacks, from my analysis. Thank you very much for patient hearing. Please subscribe me, subscribe my channel and best wishes. Thank you and like me. Thank you very